Legislative Assembly voted yesterday to oppose any attempts to slash the state income tax. Both Republicans and Democrats in the legislature have raised the prospect of a reduction in tax rates. Republicans, who will take over control.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. For most people, death marks the end of a journey. However, for the cremated remains of noted writer D.H. Lawrence, the journey seemed to have no end. The post-mortem wanderings of D.H. Lawrence will be the first stop on our exploration of the strange, the bizarre, the unexpected. Endure painful spiritual exercises with holy men in India. Strike up a tune on instruments made entirely of glass. Look inside a cow to see how milk is made. Build a better mousetrap to eradicate rats in Japan. Bang away with a modern artist who transforms trash into startling creations. Witness the ritual purification of a temple in Japan. Find out if bulletproof glass can resist a magnum force. Sort through tons of garbage to create valuable natural fertilizer. Smash your way through $5 billion worth of junked airplanes. Discover a new, painless process for collecting wool in Australia. Witness an experiment to prove that ordinary glass can become a protective shield. The strange, the bizarre, the unexpected. These are the kinds of subjects a man named Robert L. Ripley challenged us to.
Believe it or not.
The famous author D.H. Lawrence lived and wrote in this ranch house outside Taos, New Mexico. He kissed her with his soft, enveloping kisses, and she responded to them completely. Her mind, her soul gone out. When they first appeared, books like The Rainbow and Lady Chatterley's Lover were violently condemned. Lawrence himself was pursued by difficulties of every kind. Throughout his life, he was constantly on the move. And when he died in Europe in 1930, he was cremated. But his travels were far from over. His widow Frida remarried and returned here to New Mexico. In 1935, she sent for the ashes. They were shipped to New York and brought from there by train by Frida's new husband. The long international journey was about to end in triumph. That, at least, is what everyone thought. It was an extraordinary occasion. In the same moment, Frida was being reunited with both her current husband and with the ashes of her deceased spouse. It was a jubilant occasion with, inevitably, some confusion. Finally, it was time to start the long trip back to the ranch. They had gone about 20 miles when they realized something was missing. They had left the ashes at the station. It was a long drive from the railroad station all the way up to the ranch. So, as they were passing through Taos, the group decided to stop here at this house, the home of a friend named Alexandra Fashion. They spent some time over tea and conversation when they suddenly realized how late it was. Frida and her husband hurried off to finish their journey to the ranch. It was only when they got there that they realized that the ashes had once again been left behind. But quite safe. With the greatest respect for the remains of D.H. Lawrence, Mrs. Phatian placed the urn in an alcove devoted to icons. It was beginning to seem that the ashes of D.H. Lawrence had a life of their own. As their final resting place, Frida was having a special chapel built. But the ashes of D.H. Lawrence were not to be put to earth so easily. A local social leader, who had once been Lawrence's literary patron, insisted she be in charge of the disposition of the remains. Frida objected. The other lady insisted. Frida even received a letter threatening that after her death, Lawrence's ashes would be dug up and scattered in the wind to be forever a part of the Taos landscape. This was the last straw. In her fury, Frida hit upon a plan which guaranteed that Lawrence's ashes would never be moved again. Construction on this chapel was nearly finished, but cement and sand were still being mixed. So, Frida simply had the ashes poured into a batch of wet cement and mixed together thoroughly. And this is what resulted from Frida's action. Here lies D.H. Lawrence, or rather, some of him lies here. Some of him lies down here, and some over here. His remains are mixed throughout this 1-ton block of cement. A permanent resting place. At last. Believe it or not.
Dodge Omni, Dodge Charger. Two great cars, two great deals. Your choice, no extra charge. With Deal 1, you get an automatic transmission at no extra charge. With Deal 2, you get an AM/FM stereo radio, 5-speed manual transmission, and a go-get-em 2.2-liter engine at no extra charge. Omni Charger. Pick the car, pick the package. The choice is yours. But hurry, they won't last forever. Your nearest Dodge dealer.
We asked the whole town of Winter Harbor, Maine, to sample Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine. Here's what people said.
I've switched to Alka-Seltzer Plus, and I'll never go back to anything else.
When I take Alka-Seltzer Plus, it drains everything, from over my eyes, right down through my nose. My head is cleared right out beautiful.
That's why in Winter Harbor, over half the people who tried it are switching to Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine.
It worked on this when the Harbor Cold Alka-Seltzer Plus did.
Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine for tough winter colds.
To honor the faith of their fathers and their fathers before them, the devout of the world's religions have raised temples and churches as sanctuaries for the soul. This is St. Sophia's, the magnificent Greek Orthodox cathedral in Los Angeles. The decorations are lavish, almost sumptuous. That is the intent. It is a tradition in the Greek church that worshipers should be surrounded by beauty. so that those who come here may experience an elevation of the spirit to lift them closer to God. Such sacred icons as these are part of that tradition, a tradition that includes this simple act, the sign of the cross. Head, heart, right shoulder, left shoulder. The reverse of the same sign used by Roman Catholics. Head, heart, then left, and ending on the right. A small difference, but a gentle reminder that worship takes many forms, while the purpose remains the same. In India, once every 12 years, the greatest religious pilgrimage in the world begins. It is called Kumbh Mela. The holy men are called sadhus, and to the devout, to touch or taste their dusty footprints is an act of devotion. The pilgrimage ends here, where over 12 million people pitch their tents in the holy city of Prayaga. Despite crowded conditions, Hindu pilgrims consider simply being here an act of worship. For some, however, prayer takes on special forms. By standing on one leg, a holy man endures pain to intensify his devotion. Distinctive facial decorations identify him with the worship of the goddess Sita. Such physical demonstrations of spiritual dedication sometimes result in permanent deformity. Other holy men display their faith by submitting to a trial by fire. With calm indifference to the overwhelming heat, they sit quietly in the center of smoldering piles of burning dung. The majority of pilgrims come to Prayaga to join a massive procession that ends in the sacred waters of the Ganges. Devout Hindus honor an ancient legend. Here, they believe, the gods spill the nectar of immortality. For them, the water has been graced with the power to purify the souls of the multitudes. In Japan, a different but equally ancient purification ritual is performed by Buddhist monks. As part of a ceremony called Shonie, the monks wear heavy wooden sandals to create a noise they believe will drive away evil spirits. Every year for 1,200 years, the ritual has been repeated by the monks here at the great Todaiji Temple. Coming together to chant and pray, however, is only the beginning of a much more elaborate tradition. By slamming their knees into the floor, the monks subject themselves to symbolic torture. For them, the pain is endured as an act of penitence for past sins. Every act of the ceremony is designed to illustrate a particular belief, to demonstrate the fleeting impermanence of human life. They run, for it is said that to Buddha, 400 years is but a single day. With the blessings of Buddha assured, the final purification of the temple can begin. The cleansing fire is an ultimate act of faith. The temple is the oldest and largest building in Japan, made entirely of wood. The ceremony ends at the top of the pagoda. There, the torch becomes a fiery beacon to announce that the temple is once again free from evil. Jerusalem. It has been ruled by kings, pharaohs, emperors, and crusaders. It has been the center of as much contention as it has of reverence. For over 2,000 years, it has been a holy city for three of the world's great religions: Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. Jerusalem. Much of it seems so permanent, so unchanged. But that is only an illusion. In fact, very little remains from those ancient times when this city was called the center of the earth. This is the way Jerusalem looked during the rule of King Herod the Great, when Jesus walked the streets of the ancient city. It is a scale model, an accurate recreation of biblical architecture, complete to a detailed reconstruction of Herod's temple. This large structure with 4 mighty towers is the Antonia Fortress, built by King Herod as a final defensive stronghold and named for his good friend of ancient Rome, Mark Antony. Next to it here is Herod's temple. Then, just 6 years after the temple was completed, it and the fortress were destroyed by another Roman, Titus. Except for one wall, marked down here, they were leveled to the ground. This is all that's left above ground, part of a massive substructure called the Western Wall. Out of respect, all men who approach the wall cover their heads. With the destruction of the temple, the Jews of Judea were driven into exile, and the wall became a symbol of hope, a sacred fragment of Jerusalem they had lost. For almost 2,000 years, a pilgrimage to the Western Wall has been the lifelong goal of religious Jews throughout the world. For them, it is one of the holiest places on earth. Over the centuries, a tradition has developed that prayers offered here and written down and placed within the crevices between the rocks will be carried directly to God. Mi yeten v'hi shalom b'chol makom. Let there be peace everywhere. In China, good luck slogans written on paper once were burned and consumed as a way to cure disease. Believe it or not. In a moment, see what happens when a bomb hits a sheet of ordinary glass. Pilfer trash from garbage cans to create unusual art. Find out how computers milk cows in Holland. Discover how glass is transformed into musical instruments. Smash $5 billion worth of airplanes into twisted rubble.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. Surprise!
This Christmas, don't forget the magic. Capture the moment with a Kodak Trim Print Instant Camera and Film. With prints so thin, so savable, you can keep the memory for years.
And have yourself a merry little Christmas now.
The Kodak Trim Print Instant History.
Introducing extra sugar-free gum from Wrigley's.
Extra flavor, extra fun in a sugar-free gum.
Extra! Wrigley's new sugar-free gum with NutraSweet gives you extra refreshing flavor that lasts an extra, extra, extra long time.
Extra flavor for that extra long haul. Extra flavor for that extra long haul. Wrigley's Extra, the extra fresh flavor lasts an extra, extra, extra long time.
Try extra sugar-free gum from Wrigley's.
You thinking what I'm thinking?
Meet Nissan's hottest truck, the best-selling King Cab, re-engineered for 85 to hitch a tough, smooth-side, strong box to 9 cubic feet of lockable storage and jump seats behind the buckets. Nissan, first and still king of the compacts. Yahoo! Right now, special incentives from Nissan can help save you big money at your Datsun dealer, but hurry, offer limited.
I'm Peter Jennings. Monday on ABC's World News Tonight, we'll look at a new way of treating patients in a coma. Is it a breakthrough, or is it false hope?
Hobby grounds. You can just toss them in the garbage, or use them as part of an old and proven recipe. You can even include the filter if it's made of paper. Then, perhaps some eggshells. Not the eggs, just the shells. Now, let's see. The remains of the toast, with or without the jam. And some freshly squeezed oranges. Oh, yeah. They'll do nicely. Just about anything left over from the remains of a meal is perfect. Not very appetizing. But this isn't a recipe for something you or anyone else is going to eat. This marvelous mixture only looks like garbage. It is, in fact, the first step in the creation of a compost heap. Nature's way of transforming household waste into a garden's best friend, fertilizer. To most of us, garbage is just garbage. But not in Madisonville, Kentucky. Here, a recycling process transforms it into the rich, natural soil supplement called compost. Most of the refuse we discard isn't food scraps, but what ecologists call solid waste, such as wood, paper, metal, or plastic. Some 150 tons of it arrive here every day. Workers first sort through it to pick out those items that might still be usable. The rest is turned over to machines to be mangled and pulverized. After being reduced to bits and pieces, it is ready for the next step. Sewage or other organic wastes are added to the mix. They provide the bacteria needed to duplicate nature's own process of decomposition. The plant speeds up this natural process by exposing the material to temperatures as high as 170 degrees. What nature requires months to do, the factory accomplishes in 6 days. It turns garbage into soil-enriching compost.
The material is sifted and large particles are sent back for further treatment. At the end of the process, the garbage emerges as valuable natural compost. Engineers say the procedure provides an economical and biologically sound solution to a major problem. It's one way to deal with the more than 200 million tons of solid waste discarded by Americans every year. This is the world's most valuable garbage dump. Located in Tucson, Arizona, it holds $5.5 billion worth of junked airplanes. Every one of them is scheduled to be recycled. Some will be resold. Others will be stripped for reusable parts, including some vital components no longer in manufacture. In a single year, as many as 70,000 parts are returned to service. When everything useful has been stripped away, the warplanes face their final foe, the demolition crew's 8,000-pound guillotine. Even after the devastation wrought by the guillotine, the process is not over. The planes now face a blast furnace as the final step in the total obliteration of their identity as aircraft. To recover the metal of which it is made, the shell of the plane will be melted down. The object is to recycle it into one of the most widely used metals on Earth. After a half hour spent in the searing heat of a blast furnace, it emerges as pure aluminum. Over 10 tons a day pour out of the furnace. It is collected and shaped into giant aluminum ingots. When the ingots leave here, they are ready to be transformed into everything from automobile parts to soft drink cans. The recycling of garbage can be a major operation, or it can be something as personal and private as one man's quest to fulfill a dream. Early in the morning in Philadelphia, Leo Sewell arrives well ahead of the official rubbish collectors. For 17 years, he has been turning that city's trash into artistic creations.
I work with trash, but I try to draw the line at garbage. When I'm out in the street, I collect pieces that are telling and colorful and recognizable. And then once I'm in the studio, I put them together if it fits. It's like a big puzzle, a big jigsaw puzzle in 3D.
Sewell began collecting trash as a young boy when his family lived near a junkyard. His father was a carpenter. From him, Sewell learned to use the tools in his shop to begin assembling his boyhood treasures. Now, at 39, his sculptures are displayed in museums and sold throughout the world.
This actual piece, I guess, took me about 2 weeks to make, and it'll retail in a gallery for $5,000 or $6,000, I would imagine.
For Sewell, however, the price may be less important than the satisfaction he gets from the process itself. He has created more than 1,000 works. His favorite subject is animals, all of them rendered in life size. Even in his own home, Leo's fascination for junk persists.
I try to make my life out of what I find. I mean, the clothes I have on and the chairs I sit on, even some of the food I eat. It's an aesthetic for me to live out of the trash. That's what I love. I can't stay out of the trash.
The U.S. Army has used shredded paper as the basic ingredient to make ethanol, a substitute for gasoline. Believe it or not. In a moment, peer inside a cow to discover how milk is made. Blast away to prove ordinary glass can be made into a protective shield. Mount a war on rodents in Japan. Hear a concert played on instruments made entirely of glass.
Night is young and the fever is high. Got room to move, nothing but time. My Levi's coat, sparkle and shine. On a night turn, right turn, Levi's coat road day. On a night turn, right turn, Levi's coat road day.
While we can't prevent all the things that happen to your phones, it's nice to know AT&T phones are pretty indestructible. And if you lease your phones and take reasonable care of them, if anything ever does go wrong, we'll replace them at one of our AT&T phone centers or just call toll-free. You can even exchange your phones for new colors anytime. So if you take care of the phones you lease, AT&T will take care of you. AT&T Consumer Sales and Service.
Tuesday, Vicky's old flame is back. She's still single. And it's Bradford's chance to lose Jack. Freeze a crowd. Then, Tony meets a girl looking for money.
My date thinks I live in a big house.
And Angela's cashing in on the laughs. Who's the boss? All starting at 8, 7 Central.
Tuesday. Ripley's Believe It or Not will continue in a moment.
Tuesday at 9, 8 Central. Sally Field's getting married. And it's motherhood for Shelley Long and a single Farrah Fawcett.
Can you see yourself not getting married?
I'm considering.
They're all talking with Barbara Walters. Then,
You want to sell, I want to buy.
We're in business.
Lauren Hutton comes between a father and his son.
I loved you, Colette.
On Paper Dolls. All starting at 9, 8 Central.
Tuesday.
Only one radio station gives Greater Akron the year-round complete sports picture. 1590 WAKR. All the action, all the scores. Cleveland Browns football, Akron U football, Akron U basketball, Cleveland Indians baseball, PBA bowling, the Pro Golf Tour, and the most extensive coverage of high school sports anywhere. 1590 WAKR. For the best in sports, count on us.
Beat it! Just beat it!
Just get in and talk about it.
I've got to go home.
Oh, come on, Carrie. We're going to a new place.
She wants to go home, right? Let's go. Yeah, Liz.
Whoa.
You okay to drive?
Yeah,
fine. You sure?
Relax.
What's a few beers?
If you don't stop your friend from drinking and driving, you're as good as dead. Drinking and driving can kill a friendship.
WAKR TV 23, Akron, Canton.
For early veterinarians, these were visual aids. Stored in the Alfred Museum in Paris, this seems to be a zoo of death. But these skeletons are really an aid to life. They are part of the collection assembled by French veterinarians during the 18th and 19th centuries to study animals and animal diseases. Knowledge of bone structure, however, is only one part of veterinary science. In addition to the skeletons, there are painstaking recreations of various internal organs, such as the large intestine of a horse. In a world without photographic aids, They were invaluable to young medical students. In Australia, animal science has recently come to the aid of that nation's wool industry. Sheep shearing is costly, time-consuming, and back-breaking. With the help of a new discovery, the process may soon be simplified, to the relief of both the man and the sheep. Researchers at the University of Queensland have found a powerful new hair remover. It's a hormone called EGF, extracted from the salivary glands of male mice. The substance is injected into the jugular vein. Its flow is carefully controlled, drop by drop, by an electronic timer. The effect on the sheep is startling. The wool can be pulled off by hand, easily and painlessly. The hormone can also be administered orally. By either method, within 1 or 2 weeks, the wool can easily be separated from the sheep's skin. According to researchers, the hormone has no effect on the quality of the wool. The sheep's entire coat can be peeled off in about 8 minutes. For the sheep, the change in appearance is drastic, but not permanent. As the old coat is removed, a new growth has already begun. The process is still in the experimental stage, and some minimal side effects await further research before it can be widely used. In Holland, science is also revolutionizing dairy farming. The familiar rural scene of the farmer hand-milking his placid cow is rapidly disappearing. Yesterday's personal touch has given way to automation. Today's cows are hooked up to milking machines, fully mechanical and computerized. The farmer is able to analyze the quality and quantity of each cow's daily production. If the milk shows a need for dietary changes, he can also feed each cow according to the data received. When the cows are ready to eat, a transmitter on each cow makes contact with the receiver. The computer automatically identifies the cow, then delivers the exact feed required. Automation and computers have saved farmers hours of record keeping and have increased both milk production and profits. To analyze the milk-making process, scientists have devised a way to look inside individual cows. This cow is being examined at one of Holland's leading veterinary schools. The window, or fistula, permits researchers direct access into one of the cow's 4 stomach compartments. It is installed under anesthetic, and the examination causes no pain at all. It is valuable, however, for a daily analysis of the cow's digestive system. Samples of the contents also help check the effectiveness of various diets. It is a painless and efficient method of maximizing milk production with minimal risk to the cow. Among the first animals domesticated by man, cows have served us long and well. Here in Tokyo, another animal, just as ancient but far less domesticated, is the center of scientific study. In this case, however, the purpose is not to improve the breed, but to destroy them. In an effort to create a better way to catch rats, Japanese researchers have developed a special adhesive paper. To find out if it works, they put it to the ultimate test inside an area known to be infested. The powerful adhesive traps the rat and prevents escape. Their struggles cease when their noses touch the glue and they suffocate. More than 100 rats were caught in one night's work. According to a 13th century legend, the Pied Piper of Hamelin led the town's rats away by playing a flute. Today, 700 years later, researchers at Osaka University are testing that old story. With the help of modern electronics, they are studying the response of rats to certain sounds. Their work has led to an amazing discovery. Some of the ultrasonic vibrations produced by a flute correspond precisely to a high-pitched rat sound. It is undetectable to the human ear, but when analyzed, proves to be exactly like their mating call. Japan has a particular reason for attacking the rat control problem. A highly computerized nation, they are finding that 10% of their computer failures are caused by the sharp teeth of rodents. The rats seem irresistibly attracted to the computer's wiring. Recalling the Osaka experiment, the technicians begin monitoring the sounds made by computers. The building has gone over inch by inch in a search for a sound undetectable by the human ear. The wave pattern finally reveals something unusual. A panel is removed, and the answer is found in a familiar wave-like pattern. The rats are being summoned to the wiring by the sound of their own mating call. It may be that the old story of the Pied Piper, reenacted each year in the town of Hamelin, was not mere legend, but has a basis in fact. Believe it or not. In Japan, children once learned proper dental care by brushing the teeth of a hippopotamus. Believe it or not. In a moment, take a shot at a plate of bulletproof glass. Tune up with musicians who play glass instruments. See what happens when a bomb shatters an ordinary window pane.
This is a revolutionary advancement in shaving from Gillette Research. The brush. Gillette announces Brush Plus. A shaving concentrate and brush in one. A brush to lift your whiskers with the soothing warmth only a brush can give you. A concentrate with extra softeners and lubricants that are massaged deep into your beard for a shave that is superior. Give him new Brush Plus. Give him a superior shave.
Dodge Omni, Dodge Charger. Two great cars, two great deals. Your choice, no extra charge. With Deal 1, you get an automatic transmission at no extra charge. With Deal 2, you get an AM/FM stereo radio, 5-speed manual transmission, and a go-get-em 2.2-liter engine at no extra charge. Omni Charger. Pick the car, pick the package. The choice is yours. But hurry, they won't last forever. Your nearest Dodge dealer.
I am starving.
Feels like it's time for a cup of soup.
That's great soup.
Here you go, boss. Feels like it's time. Good. For a cup of soup.
You know, Lipton makes all kinds of cup of soup. Hearty soups, light soups, they're all delicious. Because Lipton seasons every soup one way, perfectly.
Feels like it's time for a cup of soup. Time for Lipton cup of soup. Feels like it's time.
That's good.
Cup of soup time.
Thursday, Dustin Hoffman and Meryl Streep. Kramer versus Kramer.
In Corning, New York, at the Steuben factory, skilled craftsmen turn molten glass into objects of glittering beauty. For thousands of years, the basic formula for making glass remained essentially unchanged. Sand and soda or ash melted together. But then, in the year 1676, a London glassmaker named George Ravenscroft discovered he could create a new kind of glass, so clear and brilliant, with such an enhanced ability to capture sparkle and light, that it could be called crystal. Surprisingly, his secret was to add to the mix one of the densest, heaviest of metals, lead. This was created by the addition of this. Because of the special qualities lead gives to glass, craftsmen are able to carve intricate designs. To complete a single elaborate piece, though, can take hundreds of hours. That's one of the reasons crystal is often very expensive. To anyone's eye, this is clearly a perfect piece of work, well worth the $595 price tag. Well, to almost anyone's eye. Despite all the painstaking and expert crafting here at the Steuben factory, there's a tiny flaw in this eagle, almost unnoticeable. But it's enough. It's not a complete waste. The pieces will be gathered up and melted down and used again and again and again. And again if necessary, as many times as it takes, until finally they are part of a perfect piece of sparkling crystal. Its primary purpose is to please the eye. Another kind of glass is designed to save lives. At the underwriter's lab in Chicago, an examiner prepares a test for a special protective glass. It's made up of 5 layers, sandwiched into a single sheet over 2 inches thick. It's supposed to be bulletproof. A bullet from a .357 Magnum can blow a hole through steel. Bulletproof glass is heavy and difficult to work with. Experts have been looking for a way to protect lives and property with ordinary glass, the kind already in place in most buildings. The answer may be to coat the glass with a new transparent film that is only 2 millimeters thick. First, a sheet of ordinary untreated glass will be tested. Now the test will be repeated with the coated glass. The sheet is cracked but unpenetrated. The coating strengthened it by 300%, turning window glass into a protective shield. A plastic explosive as powerful as dynamite offers a challenge that might push even the coated glass beyond its limits. The blast will duplicate the effects of a small bomb. It will also help demonstrate what can result from the shock of an earthquake or the sudden slamming force of a tornado, as windows are turned into cascades of shattered glass. Once again, the test will compare the coated glass with glass that hasn't been treated.
Fire the hole! Fire the hole! Fire the hole!
The blast has destroyed the untreated glass and blown its remains over 30 feet. A force powerful enough to break windows isn't always deadly in itself, but it can turn glass into a killer.
This is the real danger of the broken glass. These shards flying through the air at high velocity.
Like bomb fragments, this debris would cut down anyone in its path. The glass treated with the coating has been blown out of its frame, but it hasn't disintegrated into deadly fragments.
Yeah, it all stayed intact. Looks good.
Every year, more and more glass is used in new buildings in almost every city in the world. Now, because of advances like this, a lethal danger can be controlled. In Toronto, Canada, glass is used not as a building material, but to produce music. All musicians have to master their instruments. Members of the glass orchestra go even further. They make their own instruments. As in any orchestra, the members prepare for a concert by tuning up. Changing the water level changes the pitch. Sometimes, instead of water, broken glass is used to achieve the desired effect. The glass orchestra has earned serious attention from critics with its concerts, usually performed by candlelight. Music from glass, a substance with sometimes surprising possibilities. Glass. Depending on exactly how it's made, it can be lovely and delicate, or can be very tough. Bolt together two heavy glass pipes like these, one for the handle, one for the head, and you've got a hammer that can drive a steel nail through a block of solid wood. A hammer made of glass. Believe it or not.
In a moment, test your ability to identify the trademarks of famous fictional characters.
Get a good look at the first Nissan Maxima SE and find a lot of car. An all-new fuel-injected 3-liter V6 engine, track-stable front-wheel drive, electrically adjustable shocks, more performance than you'll ever need. The new Nissan Maxima SE. A car built to perform on the track is a lot of car for the road.
Come alive, major motion from Nissan.
It's your Datsun dealer.
It's the magic of the season. It's the best of times to be at Kmart.
Where can you find just what they always wanted at just what you wanted to pay? You guessed it. This year, more than ever, you'll find Christmas at Kmart.
We've got it, and we've got it good. This Christmas, Kmart, we've got it, and we've got it good.
Next, when Mark sets his sights on the judge's wild niece.
Family, McCormick. That means out of bounds.
He gets much more than he bargained for. Hard Castle and McCormick. Then,
No one has ever escaped from Alcatraz.
no one was tough enough, daring enough,
I may have found a way out of here.
until Clint Eastwood escaped from Alcatraz. All starting at 8, 7 Central, tonight.
In all the tales the world holds dear, there are only a few characters so famous they are instantly recognized on the basis of only a few details. For example, a striped hat and a long white goatee are the unmistakable emblems of Uncle Sam. In a rather more sinister vein, there's the cloak of midnight black worn by Dracula. And then there is another character, equally recognizable once the proper items are in place. The Inverness coat, of course. The calabash pipe, curved just so, and the final touch, the peculiar doubled brim cap called a deer stalker. The character was created by the great English writer, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. And you undoubtedly think Doyle invented these details to help readers identify the most popular detective in all literature, Sherlock Holmes. But if you thought that, then I regret to say you thought wrong. The Inverness coat, the calabash pipe, and even the famous deerstalker were all invented later for the stage, for movies, and by illustrators. None of these items ever appeared in a single one of Conan Doyle's stories about Sherlock Holmes. None of them. And one more thing. Sherlock Holmes never, in any of the original stories, ever said, "Elementary, my dear Watson." Believe it or not. Next on Ripley's Believe It or Not, investigate the surprising cause of a blazing catastrophe in Ireland. Match wits with a computer in a poker game worth $500,000. Visit a vault where the government stores a $500 million mistake. Unleash chaos as part of an artist's performance. Next on Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Want to go skiing this winter? This is David Hartman, and tomorrow our Steve Birnbaum has some great inexpensive ski vacation ideas for you. Also, radio's Larry King and Roy Scheider tomorrow on Good Morning America.
Wednesday, following the fall guide, trauma sends Crystal into premature labor on Dynasty.
Friday, starting at 8, 7 Central, it's the Cabbage Patch Kids' first Christmas special. Then after Webster, Benson will be seen at a special time, 9, 8 Central, followed by Ed Asner and Eileen Brennan returning to television in an all-new hilarious comedy, Off the Rack.